Hey everybody, Scott Carson here. Hope you're doing well this Wednesday morning. It is hump day. For many of you guys out there that are watching this live on Wednesday, what is the day, the 22nd? March 22nd. Wow. We are 2 days out from our next fast track trading this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We've got one spot available, so if you guys are interested, feel free to private message me on Facebook or drop me an email or give me a phone call to discuss the fast track of the Note Mastermind. But anyway, today's topic, since we're on episode 75, we are 3/4 of the way to 100, which is pretty exciting, is about the tripod approach to note investing. Tripod. Now, a lot of real estate investors, they focus on one thing, and that's important to focus on one aspect of real estate investing. I had a great conversation yesterday with Joe Fairless from the Best Ever Real Estate Advice podcast. We talked a little bit about this after our episode about how so many real estate investors are out there running around taking different classes, and they use the analogy of a tool belt, okay? And I think it's a good analogy that, yes, you go out, you learn a little bit about wholesaling, a little bit about short sales, you learn a little bit about fix and flips and rentals and identifying rehab costs and dealing with probates and marketing. That's all great and dandy. What it comes down to more than anything else is what can you actually implement? What is implementable in your business? All right. And if you're too busy taking workshops, you never get a chance to come around to apply your trade. Okay. When I first got started into real estate investing, I was traveling the country as a mortgage broker, going and being a vendor at many Ron LeGrand real estate events. If you don't know Ron LeGrand's probably one of the best well-known basic real estate investment educators in the country. Been doing it for 40 years, just does a great job of no nonsense, no BS education. And I got to learn a lot of information. Well, Ron had a mastermind or a master's program, he called it. Okay? Get your master's in real estate, which would be 8 to 10 workshops. You would go to specific workshops, and once you went through that, you were a master's in real estate investing. Well, unfortunately, when I was out coaching with people, I would find people that went to these things, but they never got a chance to implement what they learned. So they go to a class, come back, jump on a plane, go to another class, come back, go to another class, and come back, learn about asset protection when they had no assets. They went to all these classes, but they never got anywhere. All they were doing was spending money versus making any money. They had no opportunities to really follow up with their marketing. Some of them would do good, like, we took the yellow letter program from the educators, and we would send out 100 yellow letters, and we got 30 phone calls. I'm like, great, how did those phone calls go? Well, I never called them because I didn't have time. I had to go to the workshop. Which is totally frustrating when you're spending money on education. Now, if you just got money to burn, by all means, hey, that's your prerogative. But most people don't. And so I'm a big proponent of the tripod approach to investing. Okay? And this is good with notes. This is good really with just about any type of investing. And what you have to do is, well, I guess the best way to do is show you a drawing, okay? Is to show you a drawing on this stuff, okay? So literally, we have a drawing of the tripod approach. How does that look? Does that look okay? Can you see behind me?
Yeah,
okay? All right. So on top, though, is your what you focus on. So I don't care if it's rehabbing or notes or tiddlywinks, okay? So you first part here, this is your top. This is your seat. This is where you rest your laurels on. So we're going to say notes here, okay? All right? Notes. Oh, wow, that looks pretty good, okay? And then you have 3 legs that hold that tripod together, right? 3 legs. Not 2, because the 2 would fall over. Not 1. It's not a unicycle. Real estate investing is really based into 3 things. Finding deals, okay? Always got to find deals, all right? You also have to have capital or raise capital, all right? But that's only good if you're buying the deals, because then you got to have exit strategies to make the money on your deals, right, everybody? So it's going out, finding deals, raising capital, and moving exit strategy. That's really the 3 pillars of note investing. Find, fund, and flip, okay? What happens most of the time, though, is most people focus on deals here, but they don't focus on raising capital. Or they get all excited to learn about exit strategies, but they don't have any deals to implement. or they try to raise capital, but they don't have any sample deals or any marketing going on to raise capital. These three things have to be in unison. That is the correct word, right? Unison?
Yeah.
You have to have them work together, spend your time on those three things to really make things happen.
Or you're going to fall over.
Exactly. Or you will fall over. When your business becomes focused on one aspect of it and you break a leg off, okay, you're going to fall over at some point. Now, for a period of time, if you've got your own capital, you're not raising capital, okay, great. You can maybe make that thing stick for a little bit, okay? You can balance it, but after a while, you're going to run out of your own capital, okay? Now, what's important about this is how you have to kind of divide your strategy up. This, obviously, here, I'm going to draw an imaginary line down here. This is before, okay? And then when you close, this is all about the exit strategy. But you've got to be efficient the exit strategies for it to connect up to get your capital back to your investors, all right? But you've also got to use those deals, sample deals, to bring capital to you. Okay, so they're all connected. That's what these sidebars are. There's these side legs that hold them all together. Okay? So I did a really good job of messing up Nicole's pretty picture. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at, everybody, is this is where you have to spend equal amounts of your time. You got to be looking at deals. You've got to be marketing those deals to help you raise capital. Now, your exit strategy is the last thing you're going to know, because until you buy it, you don't really know which way to go. But so many of us spend so much time on worrying about the worst possible strategies that we talk ourselves out of good deals. Now, this is why with exit strategies, you want to focus on what happens if it starts to reperform. Well, the price I'm paying for it makes sense. Okay, what happens if I can get a deed in lieu cash for keys in, say, 6 months or less? Or what's the worst case if I have to foreclose? Okay? Now, REO and deed in lieu kind of fall in the same place. It's just the time frame can vary for a little bit. And then what you want to do is, if you've got to hold that asset for a longer period of time, hey, what's it look like if I have to rent the thing out? What's market rents on here to make it desirable for my mod or for my potential rental if I'm wanting to keep it long term, especially if it's in a shorter foreclosure state. So hopefully this is making sense. Does anybody have any questions about my tripod approach to this? Now's the time to ask questions. I know you're shaking your head, Nicole, but they'll probably come up with something here in a second. Okay. So once again, guys, we're 30 days out from Note Camp.
A little less.
A little less, 29 days and counting. Get your tickets now before they go up before the end of the month.
Yeah.
Okay.
What price are they at now?
$197. If they use the code, I still have drunk notes up there, so they can still use drunk notes.
We must have really got crunk on.
They got crunked up, all good. They use the code drunk notes, all caps. We'll still give them $100 off. There's a few people that were responding to emails yesterday. They were so drunk they didn't see the emails go out. I'm hungover. Okay. But a lot of people focus on one aspect of that when you really need to spend time on it. And what really ties all those together is your marketing. That's your marketing. That's your emails that go out on a weekly basis. It's your Facebook posts. It's your Instagram images of photos. It's your Facebook articles you post from dsnews.com, other things like that. Okay? There's a whole variety of things that kind of link their ways together to make things happen. Okay?
I found something exciting. If anybody uses Animoto, they now have Facebook videos, and they actually make them to like the dimension you're supposed to have them on there. I really want to use it at some point.
That actually came out this morning. You saw the same email? Or
Well, I saw it yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So I got really excited about that, so I'm excited to use that.
That is a really cool tool. You're right. I saw that. You're right. It came out yesterday. I saw the email this morning. I thought it came out this morning, but I was like, oh, Nicole's got to see this.
I was very excited yesterday when I was pulling pictures.
But Animoto is a really great tool to use. It's relatively cheap, and it makes you look really, really fancy because you're uploading photos. You upload pictures of assets. You can put, wording on it. You can put headlines, subtitles. And it does all the transitions and animation for you, and it looks really, really sharp.
And they put music behind it, so you don't have to go search for it.
Yeah, you don't like the whole disco music we use all the time, or the rave music. So, but the tripod approach, guys, is really, if you're doing something outside of that, like if you find yourself doing something outside of that, you're probably wasting your time. And if you get a chance, one book you should all read. If you struggle with focus, you probably need to read Outwitting the Devil by Sharon Lechter. It's actually by Napoleon Hill, but rewritten and brought to date by Sharon Lechter, who's the co-author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad and 3 Feet from Gold. Great book, talks about how you drift, and I think many of us drift, especially in real estate investing. It's easy to get sucked in to that drift aspect of it. Oh, I'm going to go to a new workshop, or I'm going to go to a new seminar on something. If you're going to something different every week, you're not building any type of expertise in what you're doing. Okay. Now you probably heard the quote saying that, hey, to be an expert on anything, you got to spend 10,000 hours doing something. Okay. Now, if you were to spend an hour a day for basically a year, that gets you 1,000 hours. Think about that. 386 days out of the year, an hour a day is 386 hours. You still got a long way to go. Okay? So that's where you're at today is going to be something completely different from where you're going to be at 2-3 years from now. You're going to be way now at the starting line, and you're going to look back 3 years or 2 years, whatever it hits that 10,000 hour barrier or that limit, and be like, I'm a totally different investor. I'm a totally different marketer. I'm a totally different entrepreneur than I was a year, 2 years, 3 years ago. And what separates those who grow from those that don't do anything is your focus. You got to have your focus of your 3 things that you're focused on in your business on your one thing. If you're doing 2 things, you're going to multiply that time to be an expert by 2 times. It's going to take you twice as long. If you're trying to do 3 things, 3 times as long. How do I know this? I was once struggling doing a lot of things. I was doing 4 or 5 things. I was making money at each of them, but not as much as I did until I chose one thing. And I realized I had to put my marketing efforts, my deal raising efforts, and my exit strategies of after I buy the deals all focused on one type of real estate investment focus. And that's why I chose the notes aspect of it. So hopefully the tripod thing has been helpful for you this morning, everybody. I think it's a great analogy to keep in mind. It keeps you focused. If you're doing 3 things, you got 3 tripods, and then you're really not probably able to hammer or touch base on the 3 legs or interconnect those legs with marketing that's make it effective. You're probably confusing your audience more than you're helping educate it. So if there's no questions or comments, that's the lesson for today, episode 75 here on the Note Closer Show. We want to thank you all for watching this. If you get a chance, make sure to share this. If you think this is valuable to somebody out there in your network who is struggling or doing more than one thing, share the video with them. Feel free to like it, share it on Instagram and all that good stuff, Facebook, LinkedIn. I want to thank all of you that watch this on LinkedIn. Really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you all at the top, everybody. See you guys tomorrow, episode 76. Bye, everybody.